Greetings, one and all, to the most cursed, most cringiest corner of the internet. A YouTube channel content creator actively alienating everyone in both the analog and digital world. Well, welcome and good evening, you wonderful dice of all alignments. I'm Lunar T8. This is Let's Play Watanagashi. Making my sister the standard of everything will get you in trouble. Shion seemed a little unsteady, too. She was drinking with Mion last night, wasn't she? You were drinking last too, weren't you? Don't try and hide it. You definitely went home from school early. Oh, too bad. I've been at home all day in the first place. I'm smarter than Mion, after all. Hey, I don't think you can play hooky smaller. You should finish your errand first. We don't have that much time. We're going to the library, right? Yeah, thanks. Mom had to return some books by today. Is the library far? No, it's really close by. As she said that, we spotted the signboard for the library almost immediately. If it was this easy to find, then I guess I didn't need Shion to show me where it was after all. We rode around a bend, and the building was right there. Shishibone Public Library. We lived in the country, so I hadn't expected too much, but it was pretty big. The first floor was actually a government office, so the library was only on the second floor, but it still looked large enough to fit a decent collection of books. We passed through the automatic doors and were greeted by the cool breeze of an air curtain. The cicadas had been loud outside, but it was quiet inside the library. The air conditioning inside was keeping the temperature at an ideal level for the books, which had the mildewy smell unique to old paper. I guess every library is basically the same. If there was one difference, it was the people studying for tests weren't taking up all the seats. I was one of those people, but now, that seemed like a distant memory. Hello? I have books I'd like to return. The librarian went through the process of checking them in, and then returned my mom's library card. Shion was going around the bookshelves with a deeply interested look on her face, like she wasn't the type who went to libraries very often. Sorry for the wait. I'm all done. Libraries sure are nice and cool, aren't they? I went to work in a library one day. Don't know whether to call that boring or dependable. It's a pretty small dream compared to your sister. Mion would definitely want to be a hard-working employee for an international trading company, or some other crazy job that involved her running around the world. All compared to that, what Shion said is pretty heartwarming. Well, we need to keep our differences dear to us. We're not copies, we're two different people called Shion and Mion. Twins have a lot to think about, huh? Still, it sounds like fun. I don't have any brothers, so there's just me and my parents at my house. It can get a little uncomfortable. It's the same for me. I don't live with Mion after all. Oh, right, she said something like that, didn't she? Why, though? Sisters living apart is unusual. We were getting tired of talking while we were walking. We ended up going to the lounge area, which was vacant, and continuing the conversation. Aha, yes. Mion lives in the main house, and I live in Okonomiya. What do you mean by main house? You make it sound like you're nobility. It's just the main house. The Sonozaki family's main house, Mion the successor, so she lives with Nana and apparently studies all sorts of things as preparation to be head of the family. Mion the head of the family, it kind of fits her personality, but it kind of didn't, too. Kei-chan, you just moved here, right? This will sound like I'm boasting, but we of the Sonozaki family are kind of personages around here. Huh? Seriously? The word personage didn't really match the extreme sociable air that Mion and Shion gave off. From what Shion explained, the Sonozaki family goes way back to the beginnings of Hanamazawa. After the war, they had a bunch of successful ventures and extended their influence to a wide area. The Sonozaki house is the foundation under which the entire family cooperates, though the current family head grandma was the one who built it. The entire family would provide backup to help once one relative with a business venture. They were like a huge living company. This let them avoid tax-related problems and help relatives' ventures succeed, one after another using large amounts of money. If you ever go for a walk through Okonomiya, pay attention to the signboards and stuff. There's tons of shops that are managed by members of the Sonozaki family. Now that you mention it, that toy store looked like it was managed by relatives as well. Does that mean your relatives operate Angel Mort too? Even what few shops I was familiar with were involved with the Sonozaki family was definitely surprising. The family is particularly strong in finance and real estate. Even a lot of members of the Chamber of Commerce and Industry either have the last name Sonozaki or are their relatives. There are Sonozakis in the city council, and the prefectural assembly too, since they have the Okonomiya area giving them strong electoral support. Wait a minute, this is all escalating pretty quickly. Her relatives operate shops in downtown Okonomiya, and they're especially strong in finance and real estate. On top of all that, a lot of those in the Chamber of Commerce and Industry are relatives, and there are even a lot of elected local officials. So then, the Sonozaki family, it's pretty famous in this area. Yes, it's crazy. All of a sudden, a cigarette-smoking overweight old man interrupted our conversation. Wait, I know this guy. Hello, good afternoon. Are you on a date today? Ah, what I would give to be young again. If you thought we were on a date, then why are you bothering us, Oishi-san? That was it. He was Oishi-san, a police officer. I thought it was the person who came to my rescue when I got involved with those delinquents before. Now I thought about Mion didn't seem to like him very much. No, I didn't apologize. I apologize. I heard a familiar voice, so I came over to see. Oishi-san laughed coarsely, not showing any sign of giving up. As Shion watched him do so, I didn't feel the same sense of malice from her as I did from Mion. Mabra-san, right? You're one tough guy. Two-timing the Sonozaki sisters, are you? No, I'm not two-timing anyone. I turned around and looked at Shion and pleaded for help, but she grinned and maintained her silence. Her gaze wandered. She looked at the clock. I'm sorry, Kei-chan. I really need to get to my job. Huh? Oh, did you... Wait, did Shion have something to talk about today? Now this weird man is here, though. Yep, I'll see you later. Oh, I'll give you a call after I'm done. It'll be okay to call at night, right? Yeah, probably okay. Then I'll talk to you later tonight. Bye. Shion left so fast, she was practically running. Oishi-san was waving at me with a grin. I felt like I'd been left here as bait so she could get away. Maybe she was lying about having to go to work. You're quite a big shot, aren't you? Being so close to the Sonozaki daughters, maybe I should rethink how I talk to you too. Oishi-san put a coin into a vending machine as he said something a bit appalling. Is iced tea okay with you? Yeah, iced tea is delicious. I'm drinking some iced tea right now. Do you want milk in it? No. 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 I mean, I've had milk tea before. It's okay, but in general, I prefer, brisk sweet tea. Granted, it usually comes in, cans or bottles, but still. And it's better cold. Huh? Oh, no, I'll put some in then, alright? But I just said no. Here you are. Yeah, my cup of tea filled the brim with tea, as I looked on absent-mindedly. I don't think I'm obligated to have a guy like this buy me a drink, but he did get it for me, so I'll thank him. Was Oishi-san just killing time? We didn't know each other well, but he still engaged me in conversation about all sorts of dumb things. When I thought back to how I talked to Shion, this seemed like a total disaster. Mabura-san, how much do you know about Sonozaki-san? Other than what I heard just now? Nothing. Until then, I hadn't known anything about either Mion or Shion, other than the fact that they were interesting. I really did only just learn that she was the daughter of some prestigious family. The Sonozakis are a Yakuza group, with the entire region under their thumb. Plus, her father is a high-ranked executive in the XX Yakuza Association. Did you know that? What? An executive? Have you ever seen where Shion lives? It's the very picture of a gang boss's house, protected by high walls, barbed wire fence, and security cameras. If you have the chance, you should go and visit her. She'd mentioned Mion being a successor, but to a Yakuza group? No, 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 no. Not at all, not at all. That boring old Yakuza group isn't the only thing Mion-san Nozaki-san will inherit. She's inheriting the Sonozaki family itself. I'll leave it to you to mull over what exactly that means. Ochi-san had spoken lightly about all this from start to finish, but what he was saying wasn't light in the least. It was abrupt and unbelievable. If Mion-san wanted to, she could kill someone in the middle of the street and still cover it up. Not only would witnesses not show up, but she'd put pressure on the police too. Mion would never kill someone. She wouldn't. She wouldn't. I'm just speaking hypothetically. Your name it was Oishi-san, right? Yes, that's right. Then, Oishi-san? Whatever family Mion comes from, it doesn't change the fact that she's the best friend I could ever have, and I'm proud of that. I don't appreciate people speaking ill of her. I let my quiet anger show through in my gaze as I stared at him. Of course, I could never seem to tell what he's thinking, so I don't know if it had any effect. Then let me be frank. If Mion-san was suspected of a handful of incidents, what would you think? Suspected? Incidents. You can't just say terrible stuff like that on a whim. Then it would be a misunderstanding, of course. Mion may say some dangerous things, but she's not the kind of person who would do something so awful. Mabaruk-san, keep your voice down. We're in a library. Oshi-san shushed me. But in a state of heightened excitement as I was, I wouldn't be calmed so easily. Please calm down. As I said before, the Sonozaki family holds a lot of power in this region, for better or worse. So if anything happens, they would immediately be suspect. I'd appreciate it if you would understand that. Well, I know what Oshi-san is trying to say. Combining what Shion told me before, the Sonozaki family is huge and controls everything in Ozawa Okinomiya. Meanwhile, Mion is its successor, who apparently holds strong influence over the entire family. Still, that's all. That's the only reason they're suspecting her. I'm just doing my job here, not to doubt Mion-san or anything, but to clear up suspicions surrounding her. Please think of it like that. He could talk a dog out of a meat truck. He was the definition of a shrewd, unfair adult. At this point, I began to think that it was no coincidence I'd met him. Oshi-san, did you need something from me? Yes, I do, Keiichi Mabura-san. He answered in an absent tone of voice. Mion's being suspected of something, and you came to hear from a friend of hers. Me. Is that it? No. That isn't it. I didn't come to talk a friend. I'm Mion Sonozaki. I came here to talk to Keiichi Mabura-san. It would probably have bothered you had I visited your house. To me, what did the police want with me? Having realized this fate coincidental meeting had me as its target, my mood immediately turned foul. You don't need to be so tense. Calm down and just answer a few questions. Am I being questioned? Let's call it a chat with the guy you happened to run into. Oshi-san freely suggested that I relax. That said, behind his eyes was a light, which I could only see sometimes, that was sharp as a hawk. If I tried in vain to run away, he might actually take me in and bring me to an interrogation room or something. That was an undoubtedly unpleasant thought. You had a roaring good time at the Watanagashi Festival last night, didn't you? Don't beat around the bush, please. I can't do small talk right now. Last night during the festival. Did you see Jiro Toмотaki-san or Mio Takado-san? I could plainly feel myself give a start. Where did I put those pictures? Oh, Here they are. Do you like barbecue? He opened a small notebook and removed 2 photographs. I didn't have to look. Who knows? I might have seen around, I don't remember. I was asked the same question for a second time today. I gave the same answer for the second time too. Your memories are blurry. You couldn't have possibly been drinking or anything. Here too I got the same answers I had from Eon. I realized he wasn't taking my vague reply well. Why is he asking me the same thing Meon did? The dark feelings I had nearly forgotten due to my conversation with Shion came back rushing in a hurry. We snuck into the sacred ritual storehouse, a punishable act. It was on a tiny impulse. While it may not count for much now, I do feel sorry about it. I'll ask you again. Did you see Jiro Toмотaki-san and Mio Takano-san at the festival last night? His tone was soft, but there was a dreadfulness in his voice, clearly different from the first time he asked. I'm scared. That was exactly how I felt. Even if you repeat the question, my answer won't change. I don't really remember. There wasn't any better answer I could give him. I didn't have the balls to say I didn't see them, nor the courage to admit I had. I see. I just thought that maybe I'd get a different answer if I asked a second time. I'm too scared to look Oishi-san in the eyes. I'll change the question. Come, Maburo-san. Relax, relax. 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 Oishi-san grabbed my shoulders and squeezed them, as if trying to give me a massage. It mostly just hurt, though. Still, why would he ask the same thing as Mion? If he's asking the same things, then the next question must be... On the same night of the festival, did you see Shion Sanazaki-san? I wonder what that sound was, and when I looked down, I saw that it was unmelted ice in the cup I was gripping in my hand. My hands were trembling, rocking the ice back and forth. Realizing that, I hastily put the remaining ice in my mouth and crunched down on it. Sorry, I may have seen her, but, well, you know, she looks just like Mion. I might have just mistaken the two. But that can't be. Suddenly, Oishi-san grabbed both my shoulders and hunched down to give me a level stare. This may be all it's like to be a deer in the headlights. I want to look away, but I can't. This is the first time I've experienced such a piercing stare. Mion-san and Shion-san wear completely different clothing. You wouldn't mistake the two so easily, I would think. Maburo-san? His voice was harsh. Harsh the same as when Mion said it. I could feel my heartbeat quickening. When I realized he could feel it through the hands on my shoulder, I got even more scared. Why? Why are Mion and Oishi-san both asking about last night? Was sneaking to the storehouse so bad? I shouldn't have let Takano-san talk me into it. Toмотaki-san casually said he'd check it out too, so even Shion, if she hadn't encouraged me. No, I understood. I was the one most at fault here. I shouldn't have let my curiosity get the better of me. I shouldn't have gone to the forbidden storehouse. Oishi-san? I think that's our cue to get out of here. A young man wearing a suit came into the lounge. From the way he held himself, I knew immediately that was Oishi-san's subordinate. Oh, so it is. Closing time already? I hadn't realized until he had said something. The jingle announcement telling patrons the library had closed had started playing without me realizing. I was so irritated, so overwhelmed, that I couldn't even hear it. Well then, Maburo-kun, we're out of time, so allow me to take my leave. I'd like to talk with you more about this at your leisure, when we have more time. This isn't a joke. If I never saw him again, it would be too soon. Oishi-san followed his subordinate and left the lounge behind him. However, he spun back around. All right, Maburo-san. What is it? Those 2 questions I asked you before, you don't remember well enough to answer either of them, correct? Right. Just so you know, you saw them all yesterday. You were walking along the 4 of you, having quite a pleasant time. Near the stone steps, I saw you with my own eyes. I caught my breath, and my heart seemed like I was about to stop. What a detestable person. He knew and he was testing me. We'll meet again. Have a good year. I sat there like a rock unmoving until I could no longer hear the clinking, clacking sounds of their footsteps. I was on my way back home. The cries of the Higurashi accentuated the already lonely evening. I would say, given these circumstances, the best thing I could do right now would be to tell Shion. Like, Shion, I was questioned by that guy. No, I didn't tell him we were at the shrine, but after I denied it and he had to leave, he turned back around and he told me that he had been there at the shrine too, and that he watched all of us enter. That he was out in the woods too, watching us. More time had passed than I'd thought. The orange of the dusky sky was being chased down, little by little, by an indigo color approaching from the east. Exhausted by the slow climb towards Hinamizawa, without even noticing, I had gotten off my bicycle and was pushing it uphill. I don't understand any of this. No one had told me to my face I'd done something wrong. No, in fact, it might have been much easier on me that way. What happened yesterday really was just my curiosity. It really was no more than a quiet prank, no more than having the courage to cross a red light, as long as you did it with other people. The storehouse for ritual implements, a hallowed ground only accessible to the family of the priests. For sure, I had seen terrifying things that I'd never imagined would be there. Thinking on it now, it didn't matter what was stored away inside. It didn't make the wrong I had committed any more right. What the four of us did, Mion seemed to know about it. For some reason, even the police were trying to learn what the four of us did. Did we do something so bad? Really? It doesn't matter how wrong it was. I did something wrong. It was nothing more than that, yet I couldn't accept it. I didn't apologize to Mion or Oshi. All did shield myself ambiguities. I did something wrong yesterday. I set foot into a forbidden storehouse for a little bit of mischief. I'll forget everything I saw there. I won't ever do something like that ever again either. I'm sorry. If I apologize like that, would they forgive me? The suddenly cool evening. Remember the very start of Chapter 1? We're in Chapter 2, and I feel we're at least far enough in the story people would have forgotten the very beginning of Chapter 1. I'm sorry. The suddenly cool evening air left no room for such sentiment. However, as it was mercilessly chilled my feet, urging me to head home as soon as possible, in the end the evening air was correct. If I trudged along such an isolated road, regrets would pile up on top of regrets, but nothing would change. Let's go home. I'll go home to my room, put on my favorite music or something, and go to bed. That might sound plain and boring, but it's probably the strongest ally I've felt all day. Whew. Now that I've made a decision, there's no point in dawdling in a place like this. I sat back on my bike. I pushed hard on the pedals, and I rapidly advanced forward. I steadily gained speed. The wind was cutting and mercilessly cold, but it actually felt good, as if it were softly punishing me. I didn't eat much dinner before excusing myself early, returning to my bedroom. My mom called me from downstairs. Keiichi, you have a call. It's from Sonozaki-san. Sonozaki? Was it Mion? No, it was Shion. I just remembered. She had said something she wanted to tell me today. Oh, Shion interrupted us, so she didn't get the chance. Shion had said she'd call tonight. Hello? Is that you, Shion? Hello? Ran into a bit of trouble today, didn't we? She said it so plainly that I got a bit annoyed. She was the one who left me there and ran. Don't say that. I gave you the signal to run away with me, didn't I? You just sat there looking dazed, Kei-chan. I wasn't dazed. All of a sudden, you left me there, and after that, I had to put up with the Oshi guy for ages. Don't complain to me about it. I can't believe she passed off like that. She looks just like Mion, yet inside she's this different. I got a little irritated myself when I realized I was, somewhere in my mind, hoping for the same reaction I would get from Mion, even when she's a different person. Sorry, next time I'll run away first thing and I'll leave you there. Hey, it's ladies first. Shion laughed refreshingly. When I heard her voice, I realized that she wasn't really that angry or anything. It was just as she said. The cause of my temper was because it was my own fault for not leaving immediately. I'll stop blaming it on others. Blaming others would be... Anyway, you had something to tell me, right? Oh, yeah. I mean, if you already know, then it's not something that bears repeating. Do you already know? Shion lowered her voice suddenly, as if she were glancing around. I had no idea what I could already know. Sorry, but I have no clue what you're talking about. At least give me a hint. So that means... you don't know. She seemed to take my stupid sounding question as evidence. However, her voice didn't sound disappointed or exasperated in the slightest. Actually, it's about last night during the Watanagashi festival. My entire body jolted as I was assailed by a terrible feeling. Is Shion going to ask the same thing? Hello? Kei-chan, are you listening? Yeah, I am. What about last night? The four of us went in there, right? She didn't beat around the bush. Whether or not I wanted to admit it, that was the actual honest truth, and I couldn't act like it hadn't happened. Then after that, we walked away together. And then went our separate ways near the stone stairs, right? Takano-san went to the stream, and you stayed there, Kei-chan. I went over to see some relatives. Yeah? Why do you ask? We won't make any progress if we keep asking each other questions. So, let me ask this question first, okay? You mean, did I see Tomitaka-san and Takano-san last night? Oh yes, did you see the two of them after that? I'd be lying if I said I wasn't surprised. This is the third time I'd asked this question today. Why? Why? What the hell is going on? What's going on? Why? Why are you asking me that? No, Kei-chan. I'm asking the question. Please answer me. Did you? Shion? If you answer... Did you? Did you, Shion? If you answer first, then I'll answer. My shabby response betrayed how scared and small I felt now. After the thing that happened today. Shion didn't say anything after a few moments. Just as I was beginning to think I'd really put my foot in my mouth, with a response she finally answered me. Of course, I didn't see them. My relatives were with me, and they can vouch for that. I didn't see them either. People can vouch for me too, like Mion, Rena, and everyone else. Now that we know our answers matched. She let out a sigh and sounded more relieved than anything else. Thank you for answering me honestly. Okay, then I'll tell you. Apparently last night Takano-san Tomisaki-san died. Sorry, Shion. What was that you just said? Apparently last night Takano-san and Tomitaki-san died. Takano-san was found burned to death. Tomitaki-san, well, it looked like a suicide. I found out this morning. I heard my dad talking to a relative on the phone about it. Late last night, a police car on its way back from the festival discovered Tomitaki-san lying in the middle of the road heading towards Okonomiya. Oh, it's the same as last chapter, except for we didn't find Takano-san's body. She was just missing. This time we found that she was burned. He had clawed out his own throat and died. What? He clawed out his own throat? The bright, cheerful Tomitaki-san committed suicide? That can't possibly be right. The police did an autopsy. He did it with his own fingernails. He scratched at his throat so hard he ruptured his blood vessels and bled out. He died in a pool of his own blood. That's what they said. I've never heard such an insane suicide. You can't just scratch open your own throat like that. I realized I was yelling too loudly, so I lowered my voice. The force I was putting into my voice. I didn't want my parents to hear me, so I switched to the cordless phone and ran up to my own room. Cordless phones existed back then. Sorry for yelling. So, Was Takano-san, was that a suicide too? In her case, it's a little unclear. Takano-san's body was found in the mountains of the Gifu Prefecture. Employees at a restaurant nearby reported to the police late last night that they could see the flames in the mountains. The firefighters dispatched there were the first ones to find her. An autopsy concluded that it was burned corpse of a half-naked female. They initially considered the body beyond recognition, but directly after there was a request for dental comparison from the XX Prefectural Police Station Okinomiya, and the results concluded that it was Mio Takano. The cause of death wasn't confirmed, but it was highly likely to have been a homicide since she was in her undergarments and her clothes were nowhere in the area. The oil drum had fallen over, so it's also possible she burned herself to death. It couldn't possibly have been a suicide. If you're going to die, there are plenty of easier ways, aren't there? This can't be suicide. That's what I think. It's unthinkable that Tomisaka-san would kill herself, too. After the two of us rattled on each other, there was a silence. We paused to catch our breaths. And as we calmed our nerves, right then I understood what Shion's story actually meant. I think it will end up being Oishiro-sama's curse. We all did more than enough to deserve it, after all. To deserve? You've got to be kidding. It's not like Shion wanted to see it with me. I just went along with her. I tried to say that, but I fell silent. Nothing would come of blaming others. It didn't matter how much everyone else encouraged me. I could have put my foot down. I lost my own half-assed sense of adventure, and agreed going with them. Yes, it was my fault and no one else's. Shion, last night when we snuck into the ritual storehouse, did you predict things would turn out this way? Of course not. I mean, I thought it was pretty risky, but I never dreamed something like this could happen. Shion's words were probably her true feelings. Shion knew she could get in trouble if she were caught, but that was the thrill of this little adventure. It was the same for me. Besides that, Kei-chan, think about it for a moment. Didn't Oishiro-sama's curse turn out a little strange this year? It was already plenty strange seeing as how Tomitaki-san and Takano-san died like that. Given all that could possibly be a stranger. I mean, they found 2 corpses, remember what I said. Every other year, one person would die, one person would disappear. This year is the first time 2 people have been found dead. That may be true, but that's not a huge deal, is it? It is, Kei-chan. Think about it harder. Listen, if 2 people died because of Oishiro-sama's curse, then in order to quell Oishiro-sama's anger, 2 people would need to be sacrificed. Is that how it works? So what? Tomitaki-san and Takano-san died, so now 2 people are going to go missing this year? I don't understand why, but when I said that, I felt my spine freeze. I don't think anyone's been confirmed missing yet. I think that those 2 people have yet to disappear. Shion, like me, was obviously getting the same feeling crawling down her back. 2 people have yet to disappear. Shion didn't answer. I couldn't say any more than that. A chill crept through my clothes and tried to wrap it into a fist around my heart, cold hands feeling about on my chest. Neither of us could say anything. Tomitaki-san opened the lock and he died. Takano-san exposed the ritual storehouse and she died. All that leaves is the 2 people to disappear, the 2 people talking on the phone. 2 more people were to be sacrificed. Then they would be none other than the ones who entered with them. None other than us. No, this has got to be a joke. I wanted so much for her to pass this off as a joke, even now. That, though, was such an incredibly difficult and selfish request. If Tomitaki-san and Takano-san had died in a common way, like Carson, I could tell myself it was a coincidence. Instead, he clawed at his own throat and she burned to death, drowned in oil in the mountains. The 2 deaths were so out of the ordinary that I couldn't possibly dismiss it as a mere coincidence. It was as if, in exchange for sneaking to the ritual storehouse, there must be someone punishing us, some sort of cruel will working behind the scenes. Even so, I still didn't want to accept the terrifying truth. If I did, then I would to acknowledge that a horrible crisis was growing near for Shion and I. That's why I argued against it. I argued knowing I was running away. In the first place, it's not even in the newspaper, is it? Such a monstrous incident would be all over the newspapers and television. Magazine writers would flood the village too. thinking it'd make for an interesting story. Of course it's not getting reported in the media. That's how it was in the past, too. When the incidents occurred for the third year in a row, there were some third-rate magazines that sniffed out the story and ran issues full gossip. Fearing that the region would develop a negative stigma, they negotiated with the prefecture and the police. Since last year, it became a big conspiracy where no information about the incidents was allowed to get leaked to the media. I heard the elders and the top brass and the Sonozaki family put all the pressure they could on the police. Then you mean their deaths are going to be dealt with in total secrecy? That's how it is. Of course, the police are investigating it. That's being performed in secret, too. Though, so I hear the investigation itself is very restricted, and what it can and can't do. You could essentially say they're interfering with police investigation. The story was unbelievable. People died and yet they didn't publicize it? To deal with everything in secret? If we break it down further, it means that no matter who dies on the night of Tanagashi, it won't go public. That's the biggest pile of bullshit I've ever heard. Kei-chan? Before I said how the villagers could be the ones carrying out Ueshiro-sama's curse? That's what I mean. At some point, a tradition was created here in Hinamizawa, where every year you're allowed to kill someone on the night of Tanagashi under the guise of being Ueshiro-sama's curse. When someone dies on the night of Tanagashi, it turns into the curse of Ueshiro-sama. The curse turns into a serial murder instance. In order to avoid exacerbating the negative stigma surrounding Hinamizawa, those incidents are dealt with in secret. That's insane. Dead and missing people turn up every year? However bad the stigma gets, the police have to draw the line somewhere, don't they? You could say the incidents happening every year is mysterious. Well, the police can get the job done when they need to. After all, the incidents always get resolved individually. It doesn't end up being a string of incidents, you know? It just so happens that something unfortunate happens on the night of Tanagashi every year. That's all it turns into. Most of the criminals responsible for the original dismemberment were arrested. The last one managed to get away and stay away, but the events were totally exposed and elucidated. So it was, in essence, resolved. The dam supporting couple who died in an accident on the second year, that was accidental death, and plain simple. They made a lot of investigations into the possibility of having been a homicide, but they didn't turn up anything. It ended up as an accident. It was resolved. On the third year, the priest fell ill and passed away. There were doctors present at the hospital and his deathbed, and they all had trustworthy medical certificates. They even did an autopsy. They concluded it wasn't a homicide. That was resolved, too. On the fourth year, the sister-in-law of the dam supporting couple was murdered. The criminal was an abnormal man with a history of regular psychostimulant usage. He confessed that he thought Ueshiro-sama's curse was so interesting he wanted to try it out. The criminal died of an accident while in prison, so this accident was essentially resolved as well. That's right. None of the incidents had any relation to another, and each was independently resolved. So then why does an unfortunate coincidence occur every year on the night of Tanagashi? You can try and say it was a string of related incidents, but they're not related. By the way, you chose to omit the person who got demoned away that last year. Yet every year someone always dies, someone always disappears. The story Takano-san told me on the day before during the setup. Now the curse really had occurred last year. I couldn't just laugh it off. Then does that mean it all come for us too? Just like how one person dies, one person disappears, are you saying we'll be taking it along with Tomitaka-san? And erase too? My lips had, at some point, become completely dry, and just saying that was difficult. Shion didn't respond. Her silence was, however, the clearest form of confirmation she could give me. Sure, we went somewhere we shouldn't have, but we were just looking, right? We didn't steal or take anything out, and we didn't tell anything that we looked, right? I was already regretting having committed such a wrong. Even so, was it really so bad that Tomitaka-san Takano-san deserved such cruel deaths? Besides, I didn't care about anything I saw in there at all. Takano-san was the one who getting so happy over it, wasn't she? Takano-san was the only one at fault. I don't want anything to do with this. I'm not interested, I'm not involved. I don't give a shit about what was in there. I knew saying so wouldn't solve anything. I could feel myself, my cold self, in the innermost depths of my head, disgusted at my pointless howling. However, my emotions had broken through the dam, and I couldn't stop them anymore. I didn't have any interest in any form of this from the start, damn it. All I wanted to do was watch Rika-chan's performance. You were the one who pulled me away from that, weren't you, Shion? I didn't give a rat's ass whether those two were trying to steal something or try to meet up secretly or whatever. That's right, you're the one who made me go in there in the first place, Shion. You were all, K-chan, you need to see what's inside. You convinced me and then you pulled me in. Why the hell did you do that? I didn't have anything to do with all this. What will you do? What are you going to do, damn it? How are you going to take responsibility for this, huh? Hey, are you listening? Hello? Click. Without any warning, the phone cut off with a soft sound of receiver being slammed down. Shion was just as terrified I was, and I just said some really self-centered things. My riled-up emotions disappeared as if I had never existed, and in their place surged waves of deep regret at having run my mouth so irresponsibly. I could try to call out Shion's name from beyond the disconnected phone, but it was too late. What have I done? Shion was only trying to tell me as much as she could about this thing about to descend upon us. As for me, I could only whine like a child about it. I went to call her back, but then remembered she lived in Okinomiya. I didn't know her phone number. Since I had declared to Mion that I hadn't seen Shion last night, I couldn't just call Mion and ask her for Shion's phone number. I was too scared. I couldn't even call her back. I was stricken with hopeless regret. I returned the receiver to its stand, and I simply prayed that Shion would call me back again. Please, Shion, calm down and call me again. Ring, 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 ring. Hello, this is Mabra. I spoke to the receiver as though it wouldn't go through, and I didn't grab it at the exact moment. Is this the Mabra residence? Excuse me for the late call. I'm Kimiyoshi. Is the head of the household? It was the voice of a middle-aged man. All my hopes rushed out. No, it isn't. If you need Dad, I'll go call him. I went to put the receiver down, but the man stopped me hurriedly. Oh, no. If he's busy, then it's fine. This may be a strange question, but is my old man paying you a visit? No? Nobody's here at the moment. I see. Again, I apologize for calling you so late at night. Goodbye. I don't know who that was. But what did Shion try to call while I was talking to him? Bubbling with egotistic anger. Hey, wait. Give it a break, Mabra. These are the selfish emotions that made Shion mad at me, aren't they? The more I thought about it, though, the more I thought about Shion. That Shion had given up hope in the short time since we had a conversation, and didn't want to call anymore. Calm yourself, Mabra. If Shion does call again, then first apologize in a calm voice. If you do that, then Shion should understand. You know, this sort of thing wouldn't happen in modern era, because in the modern era, you could just send someone a text message saying, sorry, I'm an asshole, I got emotional. You just send a text message or something. However, no matter how long I waited, the phone didn't ring again last night. I kind of feel like I'd be the kind of person that wouldn't yell at Shion like that, but then I'd then be criticized for not yelling at her. That something wrong with me for that. Then again, there's been lots of circumstances where I'm told this thing or that thing, and it's like, no matter what thing you say, apparently it's wrong. And it's like, well, that's discouraging. The significance of Watanagashi. Watanagashi, a festival of hunting for sacrifices and feasting on them. While the festival itself is remarkable, it has come to be considered a form of entertainment as well. Perhaps it was because of the disparity between both an egregious act and a form of entertainment that the perpetrators began to believe themselves transcendent. However, I found some very interesting literature that appears to raise questions about that explanation. As with most oral traditions, it's not easily swallowed, but it does mention a few things that spark my interest. According to this literature, even the residents of Onagafushi village felt fear toward the ritual. Women and children would grow pale and tremble, and those of weak constitution would vomit, but it is said that the dissection was an obligatory viewing. I do kind of feel that's the way public executions were in the past. It really wasn't about punishing somebody for doing a wrongdoing, it was punishing anyone who disagreed with the government, no matter what that government was. And by having the public viewing, it was a way of basically just trying to intimidate everyone else in the city. Also, it could be considered an accomplice type of thing, to where everyone in the city felt like an accomplice. So then, no one could really speak out on it because they were partially guilty as well. Then again, the fact that they grew up in the society and were constantly raised that way since they were children, agreeing with the Watanagashi, in a way would be a bit of a Stockholm syndrome. And it would also be a kind of festival that would sabotage and weaken everyone, to where then they'd be dependent on the village, but then they'd be shamed for that dependence on it, as if they were being parasitic, but they were forced into that circumstance. And then those who forced into the circumstance, but hey, trying to criticize society as a whole. I'm sure that same thing applies to other things in society, or other societies. This is an extremely curious tale. Until now I thought the residents of Onagafushi village were fascinated by the Tanagashi ritual. They looked down on those vulgar barbaric humans, cut them open like fish, and by eating them they reaffirmed their own holiness. At least that's what I thought. However, if what the villagers gained from the ritual was not fascination but fear, then that would suggest the ritual meant something entirely different. Basically, participate or die. Also, eating human flesh over time would cause negative effects, both in the current generation and in generations to come. There is the possibility that these executions were meant as warnings, encouraging the villagers to strictly follow religious precepts created by those with power with their own convenience. Onagafushi village has been effectively ruled over by 3 old families, called the 3 families. Without investigating the 3 families, I probably won't get any closer to the truth of Onagafushi village. The 3 families. The 3 families refer to the 3 old families who effectively came to rule the Onagafushi village. To break it down, there was the Kimiyoshi family, the Furude family, and the Sonozaki family. And each of them still exists today. Though they don't have as much control as they did in the remote past, they still hold considerable influence today. The 3 families are considered to be legend, those whom the blood of the swamp demons run the thickest. The Kimiyoshi family appears to hold great power as the head of the 3 families, but it doesn't have the kind of leadership today. The current mayor of the village, Yoshichiro Kimiyoshi, is from this family. The fact that members of the Kimiyoshi family are elected as mayor every generation is thought to be a remnant of the old system. Of course, as no rival candidates appear, it doesn't change the fact that the Kimiyoshi family holds the mayoral office, even though the popular elections in the post-war era. The Furude family. The center of the village with faith, since ancient times, the Furude clan has guarded the sole shrine dedicated to Oishiro-sama. They were worshipped as the only people to represent the voice of Oishiro-sama for a long time. But the family branched off after the war and lost most of its power. It now consists only of the main house. The main house, as well as presently, consists of one daughter, Rika Furude, so lineage may end in this generation. There is apparently an old tradition of honoring females in the Furude family, so that the only daughter, Rika, is the subject of much respect among the elderly of the village. The Sonozaki family. It is said that this family had a certain police-like role in protecting the religious precepts of the Onagafushi village. Of the 3 families, their relatively weak position can be seen from me putting them here last. Of course, today the Sonozaki family is flourishing, and the state of affairs among the three families has completely reversed. Even now one can say that they are in control of Hanamizawa. The three families conferring with each other is similar to the old way. The current head of the Sonozaki family, or you, essentially decides all of the goings on of the village by herself. Excuse me for the late call. I'm Kimiyoshi. Is this the head of the household? Yes. No, not at all. Thank you very much for that. Yes. Well, you see, I do apologize for calling this hour, but I was wondering if our old man was visiting you at the moment. You got that right? Yes. Once again, I'm very sorry for calling so late. Goodbye. Click. So? No good? I'm not sure what to do. He may be passionate about it, but he always at least gives us a call. You called everyone he plays with Go, didn't you? Hello? This is Kimiyoshi. This is Sonozaki. How did it go? Have you found the mayor? Oh, Mion-chan. I called everyone I could think of, but I came up with nothing. We can't find him. What do I do? Where could he be idling about? I put a word in with a bunch of people who might have an idea, but nobody did. I asked Nana about it, and she said we should get the men of the village together to search for him. At this hour, I mean, it's not like he's definitely gone missing. When Tanagashi happens, she thinks she would be a little more cautious. We still can't find him. Then we'll notify the police tomorrow morning. Whether or not we find him, though, we should refrain from making any false accusations. Did Shion kidnap the mayor as a replacement for me, as a sacrifice? Or your son said that? Yes. If you can't trust her without hearing her voice, then I can put her on for you. No, that's fine. I understand. We'll get the men together and search. If we still can't find them, then we'll notify the police in the morning. She'll leave it to you to organize the men. I'll be there as well as Nana's representative. Also, is this Mion or Shion talking? Even though it's claiming to be Mion. Thank you. I'll get everyone together immediately. Thanks. I'll talk to you later. There was no way I'd be able to sleep. When she hung up the phone like that, I realized for the first time what kind of situation I was in, as well as who the only ally who would support me was. I waited with bated breath for Shion to calm down and call me back. What would I do if the phone rang while I was sound asleep? No matter how long I waited, however, it would never ring. Exhausted whenever my mind started to wander, I would jolt awake, though I heard the phone ring. In the end, I brought the cordless phone with me into my futon and went to sleep with it in my arms. Though it still didn't amount to anything. Morning came, and by the time I was pretty sure she wasn't calling back. That was when the fierce drowsiness assailed me. Damn it. This is no time for sleep, Keiichimabra. I slapped myself in the face a few times. Then I went to the washroom and washed my face, which is something I usually wouldn't do. That wasn't enough either, so I even brushed my teeth. After that, I was finally wide awake. When Mom saw how strange I was acting, her eyes went wide. What's wrong, Keiichi? Are you going somewhere today? Going somewhere? Yeah, to school. Keiichi-kun, you don't look so good today. Do you have a cold? I'm not sick, I just didn't get much sleep. If I space out and start talking nonsense, just humor me. Aha. I wonder what kind of nonsense you'll say, I wonder. Now I'm looking forward to it, how? I felt utterly shattered, and I still hadn't picked myself up this morning. And for precisely that reason, Rena's honest smile was a sight for sore eyes. Yo! What's up, Kei-chan? Rena, good morning. What? Mi-chan, you look like you didn't get much sleep either. Mion had gone home early yesterday with a hangover, but she didn't look too good this morning either. Her usual cheerfulness was completely buried in shadow. Yeah, I went to bed at like 3. I'm a little tired. 3? Hey now, you can't keep staying up late. You probably read the first volume of manga, though. It was interesting. Then read the entire series, didn't you? I understand, I've done that before. I joked trying to shake off my sleepiness. I wasn't. I was trying to be considerate. However, neither Mian nor Rena smiled. In fact, they didn't even pay attention. Rena's expression immediately darkened. What? Wait, is it about the mayor? He still hasn't been found? Nope. Hey, wait a minute. What are you talking about? You can't find the mayor? Even the classroom, which was normally bursting with bright, joking voices, seemed filled with a different sort of murmur today. Good morning, Keiichi-san. Have you heard? It looks like something terrible has happened. I don't really know this mayor person, but he's an old guy, right? Couldn't he just be wandering around senile? The mayor is certainly not senile. He's a sprightly man who can teach both calligraphy and swordsmanship. He probably got lost somewhere like me. A lost Rika? I want to take you home with me. Getting lost is only cute because children like Rika tend to do it. A worn-out old man getting lost isn't moe in the slightest. While my mind entertained dumb thoughts like this, our teacher arrived. Everyone rushed to their seats. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. The class greeting was normal, but the atmosphere in the room was heavy. Some of you may have already heard, but last night, despite the late hour, the mayor never came home. Is there anyone here who saw the mayor yesterday? One or two hands went up in silence, and they told her about having seen him. None of it seemed to be vital information, however, and everyone began whispering amongst themselves. If anyone has seen the mayor, please tell an adult about it, all right? Now then, let's begin class. After that, the same old lessons began. The rumors, once quiet, had blossomed in flowers again at lunchtime. I could hear a few different conversations. They were mostly related to the mayor's disappearance. Swim. Summing them all up, I came out with this. Yesterday evening, the mayor went to a meeting at the Shrine's Assembly Hall. The meeting ended after the sun had fully set and everyone left. The elder's house was a bit far from the center of Hinamizawa. It was already late, and Hinamizawa doesn't have a lot of lights outside. Nobody saw the mayor after the meeting. However, because he would have been hungry, he wouldn't have taken any side trips. He would have gone straight home. However, no matter how long his family waited, he never returned. Some thought there might have been an accident. They left no stone unturned. They searched from the irrigation channels to the water wells, and even in the rice paddies, but they didn't find him. Of course, there was a limit to how far they could search in the middle of the night. The police were going to wait for daylight, and then the young men of the town helped search. If Shion was involved, I wonder if partly because, like I said, she was still upset about Satoshi, so maybe she didn't want to lose me the way she lost him. Then there's also the concern with this. What if this had nothing to do with the mayor whatsoever? Well, I mean, nothing to do with Shion whatsoever. What I mean by that is, what if the mayor was having discussions about after all, he was having a late night meeting. What was that meeting about? Could it have been with the police? Could it have been about the dam project? Could the mayor have been betraying the city, and his crimes far outweighed the curiosity of us to insignificance? After all they did, they still didn't find him. They were apparently even going to go look in the mountains. Even now at this moment, the adults were probably all searching for him. The more they searched in vain, the more time passed. The only thing that came to mind was the curse, Uruma's Onikakushi, and the demoning away. Had he become this year's second by Soshio-sama's curse, which has recently been occurring every year? The scary possibility which everybody thought about, but nobody could say aloud. was slowly, surely spreading throughout the village. Was he demoned away and offered as a sacrifice to quell Ueshiro-sama's anger? My classmates were whispering to each other that the curse didn't happen this year, so there shouldn't have been any sacrifices. I, on the other hand, I knew the curse did happen this year, and there were 2 people that died. This may sound strange, but I hadn't exactly thought the elder would be the one to go to missing. But the reason was clear. She and I should have been the higher priority than him. Unless he was up to some shit we don't know about. The 4 of us were thieves that broke the taboo and set foot into the sacred ritual storehouse. If Tomotoki-san Takano-san had suffered some mysterious deaths, then it should have been mine and Shion's turn next. This time, should have been Shion and me, eh? I laughed painfully. I yelled at Shion on the phone. I didn't want to end up in such a terrifying situation, but now that someone other than me had disappeared, I can only think that I should have been the first to go. Onagafushi, the bottomless swamp, said to have been the place where they drowned sacrifices long ago. Just as it ran through my thoughts, the villagers must have considered the swamp. Maybe the police divers are plumbing its depth even now. Depths. They probably wouldn't find anyone. Not a single missing person had ever been found. They'd always suspected Onagafushi, but not once had they ever turned up a corpse from it. After all, it was a devilish bottomless swamp, from which no one who sinks can ever return. I could hear someone telling their friend that in the classroom. Now they mention Satoshi-san. He left around the same time last year, didn't he? Huh? Satoshi? Yep, he transferred. I've heard that name before. He was right, he disappeared because of last year's curse. The conversation was happening in the seat next to me, so I could hear it clearly. Didn't we search the whole village like this for Satoshi-san too? We didn't find him either. What did we decide that was? A demoning away, right? Yeah, I heard he withdrew all his savings and ran away from home. Someone from the police said there was someone who saw him get on the bullet train in Nagio Station. Ran away, huh? I wasn't that interested in the reason, which seemed understandable in this case. Everyone else who disappeared had their own reasons too. Either they were still on the run because they were criminals, or they were a corpse that couldn't be found. It's not like any of them suddenly disappeared into thin air for no reason, but they disappeared. Someone disappeared whenever a curse took a life, as if by design. They may have had various understandable reasons, but they still disappeared. From that point of view, it really might have been a demoning away this time. The merest disappearance was the first such incident without a clear reason behind it. Of course, coming to that realization didn't help to resolve anything. It looks like I messed up the seasoning today. Sorry. Normally Rena would have devoured her lunch immediately, but today there was still a ton left. That wasn't because Rena's lunch didn't taste good or anything, though. That isn't the case. Your lunch today is as delicious as always. Satoko dips her chopsticks into Rena's bento box and pulls a bit of food out one after the other. Yes, delicious indeed. Today I'm particular, in fact. Chomp chomp. Haha, you know, those are pumpkin croquettes, right? Are you okay? Yes? I don't know what a pumpkin croquette is. I mean, one, I'm honestly kind of surprised. I didn't know pumpkins existed in Japan. Then again, it's the 80s. You know, there would have been lots of foods are grown in places they weren't normally grown in the past, even by the 80s. But croquette, are we talking like an apple turnover, or like a salad? Are those also called croquettes? If it's your pumpkin, then it's delicious. That can be taken a different way. It's like, oh, you're eating a pumpkin. Is it good? Is it your pumpkin? Did Satoko dislike pumpkin? Regardless, she forced herself to smile and shoved more into her mouth. Everyone knew nobody's lunch tasted very good today. Satoko kept shoveling down, repeating her remark on how good it was. If it's that good, then I guess I just have to have some too. Satoko's gonna eat it all if we let her. It's just so good. I would certainly like it if Kiichi-san were to eat some as well. Well, sometimes I have to show my adult generosity, okay? Okay, don't hold back on my account. Eat enough for the both of us today. She really hated pumpkin, didn't she? It made all the more touching to see Satoko's own brand of generosity. I grabbed her head and started stroking it. Satoko, in a somewhat exaggerated fashion, was bawling, tears streaming down her face. No way. You'll never grow up if you give away such good food. Rena, you eat too. I only have leftover vegetable stew. They taste great after having sat overnight. Yeah, the daikon radish has a pretty color going through it. It looks delicious. I guess I'll have some then. Rena reached out with her chopsticks, and at last the usual lunchtime atmosphere began to return. That was only at our desk, however. The dark tales of Ueshiro-sama's curse, which had recurred for 5 years in a row, didn't cease. The whole class remained stuck in this somber mood. Ueshiro-sama's curse had happened for 5 years straight. Everyone had waited the previous year to be the last. What was Ueshiro-sama's curse anyway? They were going to build a dam in Hinamizawa. The people building it were bad, so they were cursed. I would admit that much. Still, the dam project was frozen years ago, wasn't it? So why was the curse stubbornly persisting? I hit myself in the cheeks and perked myself back up. Everyone was trying hard to brighten the mood. I couldn't go straight back to thinking about the curse like that. I forced the grim story out of my head, driving Ueshiro-sama's curse out of my thoughts. It was actually a good idea. In the end, that meant I'd also be driving away the most terrifying thought of all, that I could be the curse's next target. Mion's taking a while, isn't she? How long does it take to wash her hands? Mion had said she was going to wash her hands and left, and she hadn't come back yet. She's probably taking a little afternoon nap somewhere. I think she was up pretty late last night looking for the mirror after all. I smiled wryly and let out a sigh. Today was no good. However much we tried to lighten the mood, things always came back to the mirror. It was just a no good day. I had just transferred here recently, so the shock of a curse happening 5 years running was an unimaginably big one. I ran out of tea. I'm gonna grab like a 7-Up or something. I had just transferred here recently, so the shock of a curse happening 5 years running was an unimaginably big one. Maybe I do need to appreciate that. When Mii-chan was really little, the mayor would always spoil her. When she was going through her prankster phase, he loved her own, like his own daughter. She's told me that as often. I see. Mion was in shock too. Someone disappearing at all because of a curse was a very scary thing. The sacrifice of someone you knew, though, then the shock must be 100 times worse. Sachiko, she had come to the same conclusion, bit her lower lip, and looked downward. Oh, Rika-chan is taking a while too. Maybe they're taking a nice afternoon nap together. Rika-chan wasn't out that late. As soon as she yawned, everyone gathered around her and started saying goodnight, goodnight. Now there was a lot of old people rubbing prayer beads in fervent gratitude to Rika-chan during the festival too. An image of an indulgent elderly came to mind. Had Rika-chan discovered a way to get herself to be pampered like that? Is there a reason the old people treat Rika-chan like an idol? Is she their ideal image of a granddaughter or something? Haha, I don't know anything about that, but I want to see Rika-chan yawning. That's right, all like, Fwaa! I want to take her home. I don't personally think it's cute. It's more of a gwa. And she opens her mouth really wide so you can see the back of her throat. Her throat, her throat, the thing in her throat, all wobbly. Aww. Rena's handy at times like these. I finally managed a heartfelt laugh. Oh, right. I'm on day duty today, aren't I? I need to go water the flower garden. The garden is right outside the teacher's lounge, too, so they can immediately tell if you do it right or don't do it right away. I think Sachiko-chan is cute. Not only Rika-chan. Uvula. Yeah. Can't breathe. Ha. I got a glimpse. It was so cute. I'm gonna take you home. Rena was squeezing her hands around Sachiko's neck and was trying to get a look into her throat. You know, Rena is, I can't say it out loud, but she's a notorious, isn't she? Sweat. Hearing Sachiko make a weird noise like a chicken being strangled was kind of hilarious, and I couldn't help but laugh. Okay, so we're just gonna leave Sachiko getting strangled with Rena. At some point, the classroom had erupted into laughter too. Maybe Rena doing it on purpose. Even if she wasn't, this nonsense was a welcome sight. Anyway, let's get over to the flowers while I still have time. Slowly and quietly, lest I destroy the room's newfound peace, I left the classroom. The watering can was hanging up on the outside of the kitchen. This building had originally been an all-male forestry service building, so there was apparently nothing so thoughtful as a garden here before. When they decided to have a school share the space, they built one there as a modest gesture of appreciation. But while the flower bed, it was a little longer than you'd expect. It went all around. It went all over the place. It was so big one would need to refill the watering can 5 or 6 times to get it all done. I was doing this together with a kid who was also thankfully on day duty today. She was in the lowest grade, though, and a full size smaller than even Rika-chan. I couldn't make a kid who would struggle just to lift the full watering can help me like this. For this, if one was placed on day duty with someone like that, they'd do it all for you, so it'd be cake. No point in blaming her. I give up, I'll just get started. Watering can in hand, just as I was about to leave the building, the old man from the forestry offices addressed me. Sonny, there's a vegetable garden behind the warehouse, right? It's all just about dried up. Water that too, would you? Oh, you mean the curry vegetable garden? The one with the potatoes and carrots and other things that are only ingredients for curry? That's definitely the personal garden of our curry loving teacher, but making students responsible for its upkeep is getting them involved in her personal affairs. I couldn't say that to his face. Maybe... So I gave up and decided to carry out my day duties. The sunlight out front was strong. The great chorus of cicadas was strongly underlining how nothing was different today than yesterday. I passed by the classroom, and I don't know how it happened, but Rena and Satoko were in the middle of a huge melee. While I was gone, the kids had arranged all the desks in a circle forming a ring, while everyone was cheering them on. Yeah, that's how it should be. Once school ended, we would need to return to reality, where talk of the elder's disappearance would once again be all over the place. I wanted everyone to forget about everything and have fun just like yesterday, if only while they were at school. In that sense, Satko's whirling elbow and Rena's backwards flying spin kick made for a pleasant sight, even if, as a result, they flipped over my desk. That's my pencil box. Gah. I'll just let it happen today. I set to work hastily watering everything, wanting nothing more than to be done as soon as possible. That should about do it. No sooner I thought that I remembered that I had to water the teacher's curry vegetable garden too. That's such a pain, but I have a feeling that it'll come back to bite me if I don't. I gave up, filled up the can of water again, and headed behind the warehouse. This was a place students didn't like to go. It was always damp here, and you could discard the possibility of slugs and pill bugs being around. So I ran across her in a place like this. I was surprised. Whoa! Oh, it's Rika-chan. Don't scare me like that. Rika-chan was just standing there like a puppet devoid of life. I was the only one who was startled here. Rika-chan didn't even seem to react to my appearance. Rika-chan? Finally, she noticed me. Her expression was clearly abnormal. There was red under her eyes, stained with tears and dirt. There were blades of grass stuck in her hair, too, and her clothes looked as though she had fallen to the ground. Rika-chan? Are you hurt? Did you fall? Hick. No, that isn't it. Rika-chan said in the brightest voice she could manage as she rubbed her eyes. She didn't look anywhere near normal, though. What happened? You weren't sleeping on the storehouse roof and then fell off or anything, did you? Don't worry about me. You should worry about yourself, Kei-chan. I have something I want to ask you, Keiichi. Rika-chan walked over and clung to me. At first I thought she was playing a trick on me. Eventually, however, I realized it was so that I wouldn't run away from the question that she was about to ask. I shuddered. What? What do you want from me? She looked straight into my eyes. Her upturned eyes bored right into me. It was as though they were trying to pull the answer out of my own eyes without actually asking me the question. It was scary, so I averted my eyes from her. Keiichi, did you do something bad on the night of the festival? My body gave a jolt from its very core. Rika-chan, who was clinging to me, might have felt my shiver. A nervous tingle crawled up my feet, and after going up my back and freezing my entire body, it made its way into my brain. Keiichi, do you really not remember? My head began to throb. I don't understand anything. Mion asked me. Oishi-san asked me. Shion asked me, and now Rika-chan was asking me. We thought nobody knew about what we did last night, but in fact everyone knew? They all knew. They all came to ask me. Again and again until I admitted it. When I thought about it, it was pretty clear that the whole thing was out in the open. After all, Toмотaki-san and Takano-san's deaths prove it. I mean, at this point, I kind of feel that even though it's just the 80s, they probably had cameras. Or would that be offensive to Ishiro-sama, having cameras on the outside of the shrine watching for thieves? Keiichi? How should I respond? We never should have entered the Forbidden Storehouse, and even though I regretted it so much, was she saying it wasn't enough. However, I had all but decided what I was going to say. I'm not exactly a good kid, you know? I've done lots of bad things, so I can't remember anything specific. Just as I had with all the others, I evaded the question. Rika-chan stared up at me with innocent eyes. Her eyes so painful that I had to look away. After a few moments of mutual silence, Rika-chan released me. I'm sorry for asking you something so strange. Please forget about it, she said, smiling her usual smile. Then tap, 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 tap. She went running off as if nothing had happened. As she retreated in silence, I could feel her accusing me. Rika-chan? If she didn't hear my voice, then I was going to give up. However, she heard it. Rika-chan swiveled around and waited for me to continue. I was the one who had questions now. Still, asking any of them would just be a half-assed way of admitting what I did. Hey, Rika-chan? What is it? If everyone knows anyway, then I should be able to at least ask this, right? Why is everyone asking about that evening? Had I done something that wrong? I felt plenty sorry about it, and I only looked away anyway. I didn't break anything or steal anything, really. Still, Tomotachi and Tanaha-san, they died so miserably. Since those two had come to such an end, there's obviously no way it would forgive only me. Rika-chan cutely tilted her head in confusion, and waited for me to say something. If I were to admit what happened that night, though, she might suddenly do a 180 as if flipping a switch. That would make sense. Rika-chan was a shrine maiden. She was the least likely to forgive me for breaking the taboo, wasn't she? Upon reflection, wouldn't telling her be more terrifying than telling Mion or Oshi-san? Rika-chan could just give up and leave, couldn't she? She didn't. She only was quietly waiting for me to say it myself. Say it, Keiichi. If you really are sorry, then you should say so. Of course, it's normal to hesitate given the crazy way Tomotachi-san and Takano-san died. A pulping machine called Chaos was grinding up my brain. The juice wrung out of it turned into big droplets of sweat, which began to fall. Keiichi? Rika-chan suddenly straightened up, trying to pat me on the head. I don't really understand what you're worried about, Keiichi. I had nothing to say to that. I lowered my head a little so that Rika-chan's palm could reach it. She petted me, kind of like one would a cat. Do you know about the big storehouse a little way behind the shrine grounds? It stores the implements we use for rituals. My breath literally stopped. Rika-chan, though, wasn't acting in a coercive way at all. Apparently, on the night of the festival, a cat snuck into the storehouse. A cat. Yes, a cat. Meow meow? What is this? Everyone's like, it's a window. Yes, but given where it is, it looks like it's some sort of like the way they use a star as punctuation. Either way, it's like you guys chose to put the line here instead. Rika-chan knew. She realized I was in fear. I could tell she was desperately trying to choose the right words so that she wouldn't scare me. The cat always wanted to explore inside the storehouse, but I was mean to it and I never let it go inside. So on the night of the festival, the cat couldn't hold itself back any longer and went inside. The cat. It was clearly supposed to be Takano-san. Or wait, was it supposed to be me? Inside, there was actually lots of things that scared the cat.